Born poor, not ashamed. Why your starting point doesn't determine your destination. Written by Candace Louise. Introduction: the truth about poverty. Let me tell you something that might change everything you believe about success. There's a difference between where you start and where you finish. A massive difference. One you didn't choose. The other, entirely in your hands. Being born into poverty is not a character flaw. It's not a moral failing. It's not something to be ashamed of. Millions of people enter this world without silver spoons, without safety nets, without the advantages others take for granted. That's circumstance. That's chance. That's life. But staying poor, ending poor, that's a different story altogether. This audiobook exists to challenge a dangerous myth that poverty is a permanent condition, a life sentence handed down at birth. It's not. What truly matters isn't the house you were born in, but the foundation you build for yourself. Not the inheritance you received, but the legacy you create. Over the next chapters, we'll explore why your beginning doesn't define your ending, and how strategic thinking, relentless work ethic, pursuit of excellence, and unwavering integrity can transform poverty from a barrier into a catalyst for extraordinary success. Your story isn't written yet. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Starting poor is not the problem. Society loves to confuse two completely different things: your starting point and your destination. When someone is born into a family without financial resources, they face real challenges, no question about it. Limited access to quality education, fewer networking opportunities, no financial cushion for taking risks. These are facts, not excuses. But here's what often gets overlooked. Poverty at birth is an event, not an identity. Think about it this way. You don't choose your birthplace, your parents' bank account, or the neighborhood you grow up in. These circumstances are handed to you. What transforms poverty from a temporary condition into a permanent state is not the lack of money itself, but the lack of response to that condition. The real shame isn't in starting with nothing. The real shame is ending with nothing when you had every opportunity to change your trajectory. When you had hands to work, a mind to strategize, and time to build, yet chose comfort over growth, excuses over action. Countless individuals throughout history have proven this principle. They started with empty pockets, but filled their lives with purpose, discipline, and relentless forward motion. The common thread? They refuse to let their beginning dictate their ending. Chapter 2. Hard work and strategic thinking. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Hard work alone isn't enough. Yes, you need to work hard, exceptionally hard. But working hard in the wrong direction is like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, zero progress. Strategic thinking is what separates those who escape poverty from those who remain trapped in it. It's the ability to look at your situation and ask, where are the opportunities? Which industries are growing? What skills will be valuable in 5 years? Not just today. Consider the person who works 3 jobs just to survive versus the person who works 1 job while spending every spare moment learning a high-demand skill. Both are working hard, but only one is working strategically. Strategic thinking means choosing sectors with real potential. It means understanding market trends, identifying gaps, and positioning yourself where demand exceeds supply. It means investing your limited resources, especially your time, into activities that compound rather than simply sustain. When you combine relentless work ethic with strategic intelligence, poverty loses its grip. You're no longer just surviving. You're building. You're climbing. You're transforming. Chapter 3. Excellence has no price tag. One of the most liberating truths about excellence is this: it doesn't require money to achieve. Being the best at what you do doesn't demand an expensive education or privileged connections. It demands something far more valuable and far more rare: commitment to mastery. Whether you're a carpenter, a coder, a chef, or a consultant, excellence is available to you. It's in the details you notice that others ignore. It's in the extra hour you invest when everyone else has gone home. It's in the standards you set for yourself that exceed what anyone expects. Poor or wealthy, your work speaks for itself. A beautifully crafted table doesn't carry a price tag indicating the builder's bank balance. A brilliant solution to a complex problem doesn't come with a certificate of financial status. What poverty can actually give you is hunger. Not the kind that weakens, but the kind that drives. The hunger to prove yourself, to exceed expectations, to demonstrate that quality wasn't purchased, it's practiced. When you commit to excellence, regardless of your circumstances, you create opportunities that money can't buy. You build a reputation that opens doors. You develop skills that become invaluable. Chapter 4: Integrity in the face of scarcity. Poverty tests character in ways prosperity never will. When you're struggling, when bills are piling up, when you're desperate for a breakthrough, the temptation to compromise your values becomes intense. Cut corners, deceive a client, take what isn't yours. These shortcuts whisper promises of immediate relief. But here's what they don't tell you. Integrity is not a luxury afforded only to the wealthy. It's a foundation that determines whether your success, when it comes, will be sustainable or fragile. Honesty in your work, fairness in your dealings, reliability in your commitments, these aren't optional add-ons to success. They're essential ingredients, because reputation compounds just like money does. Every honest transaction, every kept promise, every ethical choice builds trust that eventually converts into opportunity. The person who maintains integrity while poor builds something far more valuable than immediate wealth. They build a character that can handle success when it arrives. They create relationships based on trust rather than transaction. They develop a reputation that becomes their greatest asset. Yes, integrity might slow your initial progress, but it ensures that when you rise on solid ground rather than shifting sand. Chapter 5: From Obstacle to Catalyst. Now we arrive at the transformation that changes everything. What if poverty isn't just something to overcome, but something that can actually accelerate your success? This isn't about romanticizing hardship. Poverty is difficult, stressful, and limiting in real ways. But it also creates something that comfort cannot: necessity. Necessity sharpens focus. When you have limited resources, you can't afford to waste time on activities that don't matter. You become ruthlessly efficient. You learn to maximize every opportunity. You develop resourcefulness that becomes your competitive advantage. Necessity builds resilience. Each setback you overcome, each problem you solve without a safety net, strengthens your ability to handle future challenges. While others crumble at the first sign of difficulty, you've already learned to persist. Necessity clarifies purpose. When you're fighting to change your circumstances, you develop a clarity of mission that the comfortable often lack. You know exactly why you're working, exactly what you're building, exactly where you're going. The characteristics poverty forces you to develop: strategic thinking, relentless work ethic, commitment to excellence, uncompromising integrity. These become the very tools that propel you towards success. What began as an obstacle transforms into a catalyst. Conclusion: writing your own story. So here we are, at the truth that changes everything. Being born poor is not a choice. It's not a verdict. It's not a destiny. It's simply a starting point, nothing more and nothing less. What you do with that starting point, that's where your power lies. That's where your story gets written. You can carry poverty as a badge of shame, letting it define you, limit you, excuse you. Or you can carry it as fuel, letting it drive you, sharpen you, transform you. The choice between these two paths is entirely yours. Not your parents', not society's, yours. Remember this, fragrant success, the kind that lasts, the kind that matters, doesn't come from your starting balance. It comes from your daily choices, from your commitment to growth, from your refusal to accept limitations as permanent. Every person who rose from poverty to prosperity made the same fundamental decision. They chose to let their ending differ from their beginning. They chose strategy over comfort, excellence over mediocrity, integrity over shortcuts, action over excuses. Your birth circumstances are history. Your future circumstances are still being written. Pick up the pen. Start writing. Make your ending worthy of celebration, regardless of how your story began. The world is waiting for what only you can build.